man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to a scene study of Mallrats, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a look at the Stan Lee scene from Mallrats. Let me tell you something. I put this in the movie because I was a big fan of Stan Lee, and Brody had to talk to somebody in the world of comics, and why not, of course, Stan Lee. Putting this scene in the movie was about the most brilliant thing I ever did for my entire fucking career. A career that's gone up, it's gone down, it's done some shit. Sometimes people like me, sometimes people are like, you fucking suck. Stan Lee being in Mallrats is something that gave my career a lift even to this fucking day. Like, it was nuts. Like, when we put him in Mallrats, it was almost like we created a world where everybody knew who Stan Lee was. That didn't exist in 1995. Comic book people knew who he was, but that was about it. We wound up being in a world where everyone did know who Stan Lee was before he fucking died, with all those cameos in the Marvel movies and stuff. So his first cameo as himself is in this movie. Now, some would argue and say his first cameo as himself is in a movie called The Ambulance, I think it is, with Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts works at a comic book company that could be Marvel, and Stan is in it. But the most memorable first appearance of Stan Lee as Stan Lee, I would like to think, is in Mallrats. And that was borne out in years later, like 24 or 23 years later, in Captain Marvel, when we find Stan's cameo in that movie, him playing himself on a train reading the Mallrats script by Kevin Smith. Oh, this Marvel fan fucking wet himself, got hard, and came all at the same fucking time. It was nuts. So the origins of that moment in Captain Marvel are this scene is right here in Mallrats. And Stan couldn't have been lovelier. He arrived on set that day. We had cue cards for him because at that point, like, he was like 73 or something like that. I'll never forget one of our producers, Jim Jacks, being like, he's a 73-year-old old man. Be careful with him because he could fucking die at any minute. P.S. Stan Lee lived to be 96. So, like, you know, and P.S. he outlived Jim Jacks, the guy that was looking out for him. We have Stan Lee in the movie because of Jim Jacks. I'd written the first draft of Mallrats, or not even the first draft, the first scenes I'd write, and then I'd fax those pages to Jim Jacks in Los Angeles. So Jim said, this scene where Brody's talking to a comic book guru, who's that meant to be? I was like, well, I guess it'd be kind of like a Stan Lee or something like that. And he goes, why don't you just make it for Stan Lee? And I was like, I don't know Stan Lee. And he goes, well, I do. And I was like, Hollywood is good. These fuckers know each other and shit. So Jim reached out to Stan and was just like, hey, man, this kid wants you to be in Mallrats. He had lunch with him once a month. Jim and Stan would go to Dan Tana's because Jim was a big comic book fan, and he would just take Stan out, pick his brain, and fucking, like, always trying to figure out a movie to do with him and stuff. So this is years ago. This is 1995. So he goes out to dinner with him, and I give him the pages for the Stan Lee scene. And Jim calls me. It's like midnight my time and 9 o'clock his time and shit at West Coast. I said, how'd it go? And he goes, well, I think it went okay. Stan wants to talk to you. I said, Stan wants to talk to me? He said, yeah, before he commits or says anything, he needs to talk to you, he says. So you're going to call him tomorrow. I said, oh, my God, absolutely. I said, what do you say about the pages? And he goes, you call him, you talk to him. And I was like, come on, Jim. And he goes, well, you want to know exactly what he said? I said, yeah. And he goes, he read the pages, and he said, Jim, I would never say this shit. And so I had to explain to him that it's a fictional version of himself, but he has a very important question wants to ask you before he can say yes to doing this. And so never forget that first phone call, hearing that voice. I'd heard it on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and all the interviews I've ever seen Stan do and shit like that. But here I was hearing on the other end of a phone. And phone gets answered. I said, hello? And he said, hi, this is Stan Lee. I said, oh my God, I know who you are. I said, how are you, man? And he goes, wonderful. Like, excellent to meet you. Thank you for thinking of putting me in your movie. And I was like, thank God you know Jim. I was like, you're a legend, sir. And I blew him for a while. And he goes, thank you. He's like, but I just want to talk to you about this movie. I would love to be in it. I would love to play myself. I'm a big ham. I said, oh, fantastic. He's going, but we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? He goes, you have me saying to the Brody character at one point, reminiscing about the girl that got away. And he goes, and that's great. It's a beautiful scene. But if I go in some movie playing myself, talking about the girl that got away, the girl I got at home will lock me out of the house. He's like, I can't do that to Joni. He loved his wife, Joan. So he's like, I can't have people thinking that there was someone other than Joan. It's always been Joan. So can I have another moment after this scene where I tell his friend, you know, that like this was all a setup, that it wasn't real, that I was just kidding to make his friend feel good. And I was like, oh my God, how sweet are you? Absolutely. For love, yes, we'll absolutely do that. I always thought it was so incredibly fucking endearing. He didn't want to hurt Joni's feelings. Years later, after knowing Stan for a while, I also figured out what it was. It was strategic as fuck. Because what Stan did was get himself another scene in the movie. Just like that. He was like, can I have another scene where I tell the guy it's fake? I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. We should do that. So he was a cunning man. I love him to death. I miss him to this very day. And if you miss him too, you'll enjoy this scene, the Stan Lee scene from Mallrats, starring Stan Lee as himself and Jason Lee as Brody.
You looking at that couple inside?
Actually, I was just looking at this little pink number over here.
Oh yeah, that's kind of nice. They look happy, don't they?
What, the bras?
No, the couple. They look happy.
I guess, as far as couples go.
You know, it reminds me of an issue of Spider-Man I did when Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy went lingerie shopping. Of course, the Green Goblin showed up, and he pumpkin bombed the hell out of the place. But aside from that, it's pretty much the same thing.
Oh my God. Holy shit! Aren't you?
Oh, Stanley. Hi.
The Fantastic Four, Reed Richards. Can his whole body stretch? I mean, every part, you know, like his...
I know what you mean. We never really tackled stuff like that in the old days. I mean, what with the comic book code and all.
I can't believe I'm standing here talking to you. You're responsible for the greats. Let's do the list. Spider-Man.
Guilty.
The Incredible Hulk.
Afraid so.
Oh man, this is so cool. The X-Men.
Now that you mention it.
Shit, man, you are a god!
Hey, look at that couple. Boy, they sure seem to be in love, huh?
You know, what's with that? That's the second time you've commented on couples in love.
Well, I like that sort of thing. Tell me, do you have a girlfriend, Brody?
Had one. We just broke up. The Thing. Is this dork made of orange rock like the rest of his body?
It's a superhero secret. Tell me, Brody, why did you and your girlfriend break up?
She was a pain in the ass. She wanted me to be this typical boyfriend guy. Said I was too into my own world, comics and all.
Yeah, I can relate. There was a time when it was all about comics for me, you know? I had a girl probably the same as yours. She always complained that I spent too much time with my own comics, and eventually we broke up.
See, what did she know? Here you are now, a legend in the field. Probably had a slew of women since her, am I right?
Oh, lots of women. Jagger and me, we had a running contest to see who had the most. Matter of fact, last time I looked, I was way ahead.
Damn, that's hot!
But I never forgot that girl.
Well, did you ever get back together with her?
One day I found out she got married. I had blown it. I had missed my window.
No way. Well, what'd you do?
I went on with my life. I created some special new superheroes. They were characters that reflected my own heartbreak and my own regrets.
How so?
Dr. Doom wears body armor to conceal his own mangled form, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was me beneath the armor. The Hulk. A normal guy 1 minute, a rage of emotions the next. Just like me when I thought about what I'd given up.
So you created each character as a way to deal with your one big regret.
Yeah, the girl that got away. Look, do yourself a favor, Brody. Don't wait, because all the money, all the women, even all the comic books in the world, they can't substitute for that one person.
I don't know, all the comics in the world.
Trust me, true believer. Well, good talking to you.
Keep up all the good work.
You keep reading them. I'll keep writing them.
Hey, Stan.
Yeah.
She really meant that much to you?
Brody, I'd give it all up. All of it. For just one more day with her. Take care.
Stan!
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, you know, I think he bought it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of story did you give him?
Oh, it was the vulture soliloquy, you know, from the Spider-Man anniversary issue. Love, be a vulture tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't thank you enough, Mr.
Oh, forget it. But you know, I think you ought to get him some help. He seems to be really hung up on superhero sex organs. But
I'll
you'll
look
outgrow
into
it.
it, yeah.
Okay.
Hey kids, did you like that? All of these movies are available on iTunes or Netflix in some places, Amazon and other places. You can find them. They're available. Patronize them if you will. Also, if you like this kind of stuff, come on over to That Kevin Smith Club. Go to thatkevinsmithclub.com. Join up, man. I do Wake and Bake 3 times a week where I wake up, just smoke weed with y'all and stuff. Come to That Kevin Smith Club for more video antics with Kevin Smith.